Dominique the donkey, jiggity jing. The Italian Christmas donkey, la la la, la 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 ya da, la la la.
No, that was not a description of how the Eagles played last week. That was a song from a Philly special, Christmas special album, out now to download from the Philadelphia Eagles. We mentioned it last week. That was Jason Kelce with Dominic the Donkey. So let's jump to it. Eagles got a big league butt kicking. I think that was from Whatever It Takes, Dude, if I remember. I think Dalton said it or Crux said it from Whatever It Takes, Dude. A big league butt kicking. Is that signs of more to come or just a blip, a victim of the schedule? We're going to discuss it. And to do that, we got three guys. One is not a normal fella. So, Jason Seattle.
Hey, what's going on, Tom?
Hello. Jimmy Chalk.
I'm just sad we're not talking about the most disappointing news of the week, which is that the Orioles gave Craig Kimbrell $13 million.
He got
close for them.
He got a raise.
Yeah.
Actually, good news.
Very sad.
And there in the corner, well, on my screen, he's the corner. It is not Christopher Michael Meeker, as he is vacationing here in December. It is live from Chernobyl in his radiation bunker.
It also looks like the thing. Who's that thinker? Who's the thinker?
The car. Yeah, wrote it. We got Walt Guganov from Chernobyl. Walt? Hello, Walt.
I'm Russian with love.
All right, so before we jump into Eagles-Niners, I just want to read some things to you, and you guys tell me if you recognize this. 76-72, 78-65, 55-50, or 57-55. Does anybody know what that is? That was Villanova's results in the Big Five Classic. So I just wanted to point that out, that for one of our guys, Nova's struggling this year. Any comments?
They followed that up with another wonderful performance. Who was that against?
Kansas State.
Kansas State.
Yeah. The overtime loss on the road. Manhattan's a tough place to play, so you know that's fun. But
and Wells Fargo Center seemed to be tough.
Yeah, well, they got to play UCLA Saturday night.
So I just wanted to point that out to some. So let's jump into it. Jason, we'll give you the floor first. You get your redemption with the Niners this week. I mean, not much to say. The Eagles got destroyed.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously the first quarter, the Eagles looked pretty impressive. Well, they weren't finishing, right? They got the 2 field goals, and then that drive for the start the second quarter. Well, let me get into the words I was thinking as I watched the rest of the game. Woodshed game. What else did I write down? Boat raced. Doors blown off. I mean, from the second quarter on, that's what it was. But I think it started with the drive where the 49ers got the ball deep, which they did, and I'm going to run down all their drives, which was incredible. And they had a second, and I think it was 15 or maybe
they got
20.
a penalty. They got
might even 20 or whatever.
McCaffrey ran, lost yards, then they got a 5-yard penalty.
Yeah, and then they got a big gain on second down, and then they got the third down, and then that was it. Like that was the game. But they obviously scored on 6 straight touchdown drives. 11 plays, 85 yards, which is the one we just mentioned. 10 plays, 90 yards. 7 plays, 75 yards. 5 plays, 77 yards. 12 plays, 75 yards. Like, they weren't cheap drives. Like, they were getting the ball deep, and they were just going down the field. And then the last one was 2 plays, 48 yards. But once again, third down, 49ers were 8 out of 11 on third down. The Eagles are now the 32nd ranked team in third down conversion. That means they're worse than the Arizona Cardinals in third downs. The yards, once again, Eagles had 333, 49ers had 456. Just a continuation of the last 5 games now. The defense, I will say it again, the defense is a humongous problem. You could blame, the 49ers circled the game, and the 49ers had 11 days to prepare for the game and this and that. Listen, if it was a close game through 3 quarters and then the 49ers pulled away in the fourth quarter, I'd say, okay. But come on. I mean, this was just an ass-kicking, like Tommy had mentioned. And the majority of it was based on the defense not being able to do anything to get off the field against the 49ers. Now, there were a couple issues I saw with Hurts. I did watch the quarterback school, and obviously we all know without watching the quarterback school that he held the ball too long. I saw a couple of plays on the quarterback school where, everybody's like, oh, well, they missed Goddard. Stoll was wide open on a couple of plays.
He refused to throw to those guys.
He wouldn't look at Stoll.
Nah,
He
it
just
was
wouldn't throw the
his
ball.
mind was made up before
Yes.
the games were started that
Yes.
they weren't a weapon for him to utilize.
So that was a major mistake. He didn't throw the ball with anticipation at all because you got to throw your receivers open at some point in during the game. No, it's not like it's school ball and guys are going to be wide open and then you throw the ball. He's not doing that. And he almost got Swift killed on 2 plays. Not only the one where he basically got knocked out almost, but there was another play where he almost got him killed because he's holding the ball too long. So Hurts was a major problem as well. Not as big as the defense. But and listen, you guys know I think 49ers are the best team. The 49ers played Dallas, Jacksonville, and the Eagles. The combined score against those teams was 118-32. In the games that McCaffrey, Debo, and Purdy have all finished, they're now 16-0. The combined score is 529-239. Purdy is 34 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. I just think, if healthy, there's nobody beating the 49ers. Obviously, the Eagles could give a better representation of themselves than they did. But I just think the 49ers are just a better team. That's just my opinion there.
All right, Chalky.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I don't see how there's any way you can't say that, even if it's close, that the 49ers are the better team. As I believe the only one that predicted a double-digit loss for the Eagles last week, I will say that's not how I saw the game unfolding. I thought it might be
I did say if one team was going to win by double digits, it's most certainly the Niners and not going to be the Eagles.
No,
absolutely.
absolutely.
I wasn't surprised at the result.
I thought it would be a late turnover that made it a 2-score game. So, yeah, I mean, it's one of those, there were plays that the Eagles didn't make, and not all of them were because the 49ers played well. But, I mean, when you're talking about 5, we always say, you can look at almost any game and there's 1 or 2 plays. If they go the other way, well, then maybe the different team wins. And there's some of those plays where you got to get to about 5 or 6 before you can really say with any confidence that the Eagles might have won the game. If it's 14-0 instead of 6-0, maybe San Francisco presses a little more because their first 2 drives were god awful and they looked like they didn't belong there, and then everything flipped. If they get those 2 touchdowns and Blankenship catches that interception to start the second half, the Eagles might have the lead. There's too many ifs, obviously, but where they struggled against the Chiefs and against Buffalo at times, they were able to make a play that sort of flipped the game a little bit. In KC, it was 2 red zone turnovers that kept points off the board. In Buffalo, once they started moving, they picked off Allen and then got the lead and then played back and forth with that. And the 49ers didn't really offer a lot of chances to make mistakes. And the one chance they had on defense was Blankenship. And it wasn't an easy interception chance, but he didn't get it. And that was really the only chance they had. And the difference between the first 2 drives and the rest of the game was the first 2 drives, Purdy's 0 for 4 and had 1 sack, and they had a loss. And so the 4 incompletions, he was under pressure about every play. And the pass rush stopped after that. I mean, there was a little bit of pressure here and there, but there was nothing like that first 2 drives. The offensive line on the 49ers was completely dominated. And then they got in there and the pass rush wasn't getting home. And I think part of that, as the defense wore down, was a little bit of their legs weren't as fresh because as the game went on, that's not the excuse for them losing. It might have been a closer game if they were both on 10 days rest, but it wouldn't have been the difference in the Eagles winning. But the one thing I guess that surprised me in seeing how they lost was if you look at that score, you'd be like, oh man, they probably got rocked and they got killed. The Eagles offensive line was fine for the most part. I mean, they're, Bosa, Young, those guys weren't getting back there and causing havoc. Hurts was holding on to the ball, and some plays, some guys just weren't open. And other plays, he just, I guess, had a 1-track mind as to where he wanted to go with the ball. Like you're talking about the play where he just ignored Stoll, and, it didn't end up working out. But it wasn't like he was, we've seen games where he's turned the ball over, he's gotten hit a lot, and that's been an issue, but they didn't get a ton of pressure with the defensive line for San Francisco. So, and the San Francisco exploited the mismatch that they had in their favor on offense. I mean, Purdy had 317 yards passing or whatever it was. Over half of that came against one linebacker who was not on.
Oh, Chalky froze.
Chalky froze.
We got a double freeze on the bottom of the screen here. All right, well, till Chalky comes back, Walt, we'll let you get your what your thoughts were on the game.
Yeah, well, I'm going to kind of piggyback on what Chalky was talking about with Purdy. I think, and I don't know the exact numbers with the sentiments there, I think it was like 90% of his passing yards were after the catch, were yards after the catch.
Yeah, he had 15 and 212 were after the catch.
Yeah, so like his average at the target was could have been 3.5 yards. I mean, has there been a problem? I mean, I don't know this, but I heard a couple people reference that's tackling.
Yes,
the secondary or the second level been an issue all year.
Yeah, it's been hot and cold. But for sure, obviously, the last few games, it's been bad. Against Buffalo, it was bad with Allen. They were unable to stop Allen on a couple plays. They had him. KC, they missed some tackles with Pacheco. So yeah, the tackling has been poor over the last few games.
Yeah, with those four skill guys, and Jason touched on it. Like, I mean, they're whatever the sequence would be, but they're four dynamic, dangerous open field players. Like, they're just going to make any team that struggles tackling, it's going to compound. I mean, they're just devastating in the open field with speed and power.
I do want to give one stat on Purdy because in that game, it clearly, the yards after catch was, I mean, he didn't throw deep, I don't think, maybe once or twice the whole game. But believe it or not, and I have him for MVP, and I did give it out in the beginning of the year for 50-1, and he's the favorite or co-favorite. So you would think, okay, Purdy is the guy that's just getting yards after the catch, and he's 48.6% of his yards are after the catch. I'm going to give you the last three MVPs, and I'm going to give you their percentage of yards after the catch. 2020, Aaron Rodgers, 52.2% of his yards after the catch. 2021, Aaron Rodgers, 52.7% of his yards after the catch. Yards after catch. Mahomes, Mr. Big Arm, got the arm, and he does, and could throw the ball over the field. Won MVP last year. 54.3% of his yards were gained after the catch. So the whole narrative with Purdy, yards after the catch with Purdy and all, it's a little bit of a narrative when you look at those numbers. I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, I mean, the good quarterbacks know where to go with the ball when
exactly
the pressure's coming from.
Absolutely right.
There was a play, which game was I watching, where there was like a blitz and there was a back came right out of the backfield. And, to looking at the game, you're like, oh, the quarterback got pressure immediately. That's not his fault. But when you looked at the film, he should know to go to the back. He dumps off to him. He picks up 4 or 5, maybe breaks it 10 yards. So it is. And that's the subtlety of football that you don't see when you just blame the quarterback when
exactly he's decisive, he processes the offense fast, he's precise, and he's accurate. Yeah, and he makes the right throws.
Yeah,
he makes the right throws, and that's a big part of being.
And he knows where to go with the ball. Yeah, absolutely.
Correct.
Yeah, Chalky. I don't know where you left off, or if you had more to add.
I don't know. I didn't know where I got.
You were
cut off
talking about
at.
the one linebacker that got exploded.
Yeah,
the line. I mean, he was half of the yards total, like thrown. He had 177 of Purdy's 3 whatever attributed to him, and then second most was the 4th string nickel back they have now, whatever. So, but those were the mismatches, and whether intentional or not, that's what got exploited. And the Eagles probably had some.
But that's the Eagles team. They're not mad. I mean,
that's not
Leonard, but.
No, but I said, and Shaq Leonard and Zach Cunningham wouldn't have won that game for the Eagles, but it might have been a little more respectable. Maybe somebody else makes a play if they go somewhere else. But the Eagles, obviously, when they had the ball in offense, they had some advantages, and they didn't exploit them to the same way that the 49ers did. So, I mean, you can't knock the 49ers for whatever they did. I mean, if the Eagles put Newman's team out there. What are they going to do? Like not try to beat them? They had a mismatch and they did it.
Let me ask you this question: what's the book on Shaq Leonard? Like, is he a coverage linebacker, or is he more of a run stop?
He was a coverage linebacker.
It was coverage, but
I don't
He probably
know.
lost the step.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah,
that-
you
I lost a stat. I mean, this is his 6th year. He was all pro his first 4 years.
yeah, but he's hurt. He's been injured.
But a guy that's all pro first 4 years, for his first 5, they don't get cut in the middle of the season. So obviously he had major back surgery last year, and that's been the issue. He's got length, and I can't see how he would have been worse than Morrow or Ella or the other guy. But
It's
they
impossibly
wouldn't
worse.
they wouldn't have won that game with him last week. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, go ahead, Walt.
On the Athletic, there's a show called Kiefer and the Beats or something to that effect, where this guy talks to various beat writers. He rotates them, and it actually came out. He hadn't been released yet. Actually, but by the time it was available to the media, to the public, he had been released, and it was the beat writer for the Colts, and it was nerve damage in his back. They thought they didn't know what the issue was. They went in there, it was some sort of nerve issue.
Yeah.
And he said that they owe him like $7 million. And he thought if he had anything left, they would not have cut him and agreed to pay that money.
See, that's what I think. Something's got to be up.
Yeah, I mean, he passed the physicals and things like that, but I mean, how much impact is he really going to have?
Right.
It's they have a hole there, and I don't say it's desperation, but it's not. You're not bringing an all-pro player in.
Yeah,
he's not that kind of player.
Right.
It could improve it, and maybe it's not. You can't exploit as much there, but it's not. It's not a Super Bowl changing. They're going to have to get better elsewhere too. But hey, what's his name might come back. Sue. I guess you get those two and fix all your problems. But
that's wild.
yeah, he said he wants to come back, and the Eagles would, if they're interested, they'd be where he wants to go. But I mean, it's they need to get healthier, and both coordinators. Last thing I'll say is both coordinators. We talked about it as being a problem earlier. Before the season, it's their first time calling plays. It's their first time in these positions. Whereas you look at like the 49ers, they lost their defensive coordinator, but the guy that's there now, Wilkes, has been a head coach. He's been a high level coach for a number of years, so he's got that kind of experience, whereas the Eagles coaches don't have that, and it can absolutely make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not much to add. I'll leave the defense aside. What are you going to say? I do think the schedule caught up to them. 3 games in 13 days against the top teams in the league. But I'll focus on Hurts, and it's been my fear for 2-3 years now, and he's proved me wrong many a times. But I still don't think Hurts is a true great quarterback. He's a guy that can throw the ball well when you establish not necessarily the run game, but the perception of the run game. He needs to use his legs as well to open up the run game. I mean, you see his inability to even threaten to run is causing the run game for the Eagles the Swifts and the Scotts and the Gainwells to stink. He didn't even pretend to run the ball in that game against San Fran. Whether that was a decision to say, hey, we don't want to show our full playbook to them in case we face them again in the postseason. I mean, maybe. I don't know if we're that smart. But I think that was a huge factor. And Bosa came out, a little bit ago saying that the blueprint to stop Hurts is to stay back, contain. I really don't rush him as much because he's able to elude the rush and get by him.
See, I just think in that
whether
regard,
that's true.
I just think in that regard, the 49ers have the athletes that could run him down if he decides to run. So they could do that, right? I don't know how many other teams can do that. But they didn't. But they didn't even run the read options at all. That their offense was just Hurts dropping back, having time, and looking for receivers. It was really not the same offense that they typically run. Whether it's injury, whether it's
I forget what I was listening to, and I didn't watch QB school this week, but somebody was basically said that I don't know if it's 49ers or it's been other teams, but as far as the RPO, nobody's respecting Hurts's ability to pull the ball back and take off on his own. So that, as far as that being an option, teams just aren't playing it. And he had a couple runs against, Buffalo. We looked for the game winner, and he had 1 or 2 other ones that looked like they were designed, but didn't even try anything like that against San
Well, he did
Francisco.
try
And
on one play that I did see on the quarterback score, which was a 3rd and 8. You guys
He
might
did that
remember.
quarterback draw,
He just
right?
ran right away.
Yeah.
Like there was
No.
guys open.
Yeah, I don't know if that's
He
like
just
a
took
hot
off.
read or what.
No, he just took
yeah,
off.
I don't know. But I mean, they were not running the ball effectively.
I
to
thought
begin
Hurts
with.
I thought he was awful.
So-
I mean, I thought he was awful.
Watch the quarterback score. He was pretty bad.
And then the one red zone, he just fell down. I don't know if I've ever seen that
Slipped.
where
Yeah, some guys were slipping on the field a little bit, but it wasn't. I mean, it was fluky.
the guy's
could
a pro.
show.
He's a pro athlete. He
I
can't be
would
slipping on losing 20 yards.
I would
That's- that's
recommend
bad.
watching that quarterback score on him because they were showing a couple of plays where the 49ers overloaded on his line side. And the guy wasn't sure like who was responsible for the call to move the pass protection to that side. He was like, it might be Kelsey because, Kelsey's Hall of
Kelsey
Famer,
said, he said he had he played bad as well. Like missing
But-
blocks, calling the game
but some-
itself.
So if he's calling that, then that's his fault because now Hurts took a couple of blindside hits on that. But some quarterbacks are also responsible for calling that as well.
Yeah, I
So
don't
he
know.
didn't know like who was responsible, but there were 2 plays where we
Yeah, it's
Really?
not
Andy
impossible. Who's
500.
responsible for protection?
Yeah, I mean, there was one play though, and we talked about it where, Hurts leaves the pocket too early. We know that. He doesn't step up. So he got a little bit of pressure. He left the pocket, rolled to the side he always rolls, which is his strong side.
yeah.
And there wasn't one receiver on the strong side of the field. They were all on the other side of the field. So there's no way that the play is that's just a bad decision on his part. You roll to the side where there's not one receiver. So you can only run and he threw the ball away.
I
And-
think that weakness is starting to show now. Now,
No,
know
for
that
sure.
You got to flush him out to his weakness.
Yeah. I mean, so to me, it was, I know it didn't matter who the quarterback probably was, with that defense on Sunday, but he contributed. He was a huge factor for me. Anything else before we move on to Dallas?
I mean, it doesn't make a difference in the end of the game, but he had to go to the locker room to get checked for concussion, and they put him back in. Why? You were down 20-something points.
I mean,
with 5 minutes left. Like, why?
The fact
I
that
don't
Swift was in the
understand
game, the starters were in the game. I mean, that was
that.
just
I don't
dumb.
understand that
That was dumb.
whatsoever.
The game's
That was dumb.
over. Like I don't know what the hell they were trying to
Yeah,
do at the end. Of it.
pull your tents down and you fight another day. You don't go
Yeah,
back
Trying
out
to make it a respectable.
because it's not. You don't automatically have to go back to the locker room for a concussion check, right? That's like a second stage, I think. So if you had to do that, then why would you put him back in the game? I don't.
It made no sense.
Nah,
See,
the whole sequence. He ran to the locker room too. Like the whole thing was dumb.
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, let's move to Eagles Dallas Sunday night 8:30, and as everyone knows, and through looking at the frozen pic of Walt thinking, you can see the star on his
Burned
chest. You can see
Burned
the
down.
star on his chest. So we will let the enemy give first impressions of his thoughts. He can talk if you want to give the state of Dallas. If you want to talk game, be my guest. Take it away.
All right. I mean, I don't know about. I mean, am I really the enemy? I mean, okay, cool. All right. I mean, I'm lovable. I mean, that counts for something.
Your maker's enemy.
Well, I mean, that's right. That makes sense, right? You
Who
know,
isn't, right?
I mean, it's interesting to watch. San Francisco and Eagles play the week before. What's my perspective? I mean, I got my doors blown off as well. So, I in a lot of ways, whether it's deficiencies on our back seven, whether it's getting our doors blown up by San Francisco, and then we meet up now for the division. I feel like we're in the same boat, like literally rowing in opposite directions. Like we have a lot of similarities. It's coming to this point. Dallas is playing well, but the NFL is fickle, so that could come to a stop at any moment. And they've been hot, but it doesn't really matter at the end of the day until they can prove that they're better than the Eagles. They can beat the Eagles and take the division. It's kind of like just a lot of the MVP talk with Dak. That's great. Oh, that's wonderful. It's going to matter if they can beat the Eagles to get in a better position for January, to make things happen. The Eagles, Dallas has good fronts on both sides, but I think the Eagles are probably better on both sides unless things have changed. We have the attack in the secondary. Everybody seems to agree that, just keep attacking the secondary. If they can hold up front, that there's chunks to be had. But, we've seen what my right tackle did against Reddick. So, they better help him if they're going to have a chance, because he's going to just implode the offense, because he's really the reason that the Eagles won the last game, because he just destroyed my right tackle.
Okay. Jason, thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, listen, I watched the quarterback school on Dak too, and he was very impressive against Seattle. But I'm very interested in this MVP race, obviously, because I got a lot riding on Purdy. But the one thing with Dak, Dak has only played one top 10 pass defense team this year, and do you guys know who that is?
San Francisco.
49ers. What happened in that game? He did not look good. Now, shouldn't matter this week because the Eagles obviously are not a top 10 pass defense team, but are they beating up on bad teams? I don't know.
I would also be curious to see Dak's numbers in the fourth, because Dallas is one of the few teams when they have a 14-point lead in fourth, they throw. They don't run. They continue to throw, and that's why some of their games are lopsided. So I would be curious to see how much of his stats, and he's been accused of this for many years, those hollow stats at fourth quarter when the games are kind of wrapped up and they're still throwing the ball and still getting touchdowns and celebrating like they won the Super Bowl at times.
I mean, I'm not the biggest Dak fan. I've been on here and I've said that. And at the end of the day, he has to win when it matters in January. But I will say this. He's had hot stretches and he's been inconsistent. But I will say this. They're winning football games because of him this year. Not even with him, because of him.
I think you got to give credit to McCarthy too. I mean, listen,
absolutely. Because they didn't have a bye, and they were trying to do more of a West Coast offense before the bye. And he's very detailed, very precise, this is what you do when this happens. And with Prescott, he's really good pre-snap at diagnosing plays. He's smart in that way, preparation. But he can't work in a confined state, so they kind of let him go. Like, you're prepared. You know what to do. Just he has to react to what he sees in the field. He's a little bit of a playground player in that regard.
Well, just get back to McCarthy too. And I know last year when you were on, you weren't the biggest Kellen Moore fan, and I know Tommy and I were kind of excited to see Moore go to the Chargers. What's going on with the Chargers? Nothing, nothing good. And then Dallas's offense looks a lot better this year, so. That's what I'm saying. I think McCarthy deserves some credit there. I mean, obviously Dak's playing well, but two guys. Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say 2 guys I wanted to bring up, one positive and one negative, both offensively. But that Ferguson he's a hell of a tight end, man. I mean, I saw a couple of plays where he blew up he had one fantastic play on that quarterback school where he was responsible to chip the linebacker, and he just pancaked him, and then went out, caught the ball, and that was the 3rd and 15 play. Walt, you probably remember against Seattle, where he caught the ball, he made a move, and then he took on Bobby Wagner.
Yeah. Was that the
and he got the first down. I mean, and that's not the only play. Like, he's legitimately a really good player. And then Pollard was exposed in the picking up the blitz. Man, he is not a good blocker.
Not a strong suit. No.
I mean, you want to talk weaknesses, that's a big weakness for them. But I just, I can't, the way the Eagles defense is playing right now, I can't see them beating Dallas. I can't see them beating a good offensive team right now. I mean, who are they stopping? Like, are they going to stop Dallas in Dallas this week? I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think Dallas is going to win the game. I think there'll be points scored. I think the Eagles offense will get back, a little bit back on track. I mean, if you're asking me for a score, I wrote it down. What did I write down? 34-27 Dallas.
Yeah, Walt, did you have a prediction?
Well, I think if I'm right, I think the Eagles will win a close game with Philadelphia by, I think, like 4 points. But I'd go the same way. I think I was thinking 31-26, 31-27 is probably a better score. But, just the inverse, really. The issue I would have, the concern I would have is Dallas plays heavy man. And they're just not going to switch everybody's like, change your defense. Your defense is your defense for the most part. And they play heavy man. And they're going to come after the pass rusher. If they don't, they got home. They won a lot of pass rush against Seattle. People think they didn't get home. They won a lot of their pass rush percentage-wise. but Geno Smith was able to carve them up because guys were getting open clearly very quickly. The Eagles clearly had a lot of talent on the outside. And then Goddard's coming back, I believe. I could be wrong, but I think he's playing.
He's like almost 100%. Yeah.
So, and the Eagles are strong up front. So, Dallas plays a lot of man. So, Bland's been a really good young player, second-year player from the 5th round. People can't lose sight of that. So I'm concerned about giving up big plays. And it's probably going to be a little bit of a shootout, like 35-31. I know I just changed it, but still a 4-point game. It's probably going to be 30 is probably the number. Now that I'm thinking about it, at least. Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Was that Dallas-Seattle game, was that just Dallas looking ahead to the Eagles and just kind of, mailing it in a little against Seattle? Or is Seattle a team that's not a bad team and Dallas really has been beating up on bad teams? And
I think it's all of that. I think Seattle's been they were banged up for a while. Dallas is who they are. They want to press the issue on offense because they want to put you on your heels and make you feel like you need to score to throw, because the misconception has been, and you've seen the Seattle game, that they have an elite defense. They most certainly do not have an elite defense. They have an elite pass rush. They're back 7. They're starting to miss things because their secondary is like a pitching staff. A good 2, a good 3, a good 4 quality innings eater bullpen. They lost their ace and everybody's out of the spot now. They go with Diggs at the top as a playmaker who can take your best player and he's an athlete. Everybody else kind of falls in line. But without him, they're just a bunch of decent players. They don't have a lot of speed on the back end. So when they don't get home and they play man, that could be a problem.
Yeah, I want to say that Hurts is best against man as well, right?
yes, he is.
I think I saw that, right?
Yes.
So that would be to their advantage.
The
Chalky?
quarterbacks like to see man, definitely.
Chalky?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Jason. Okay, so, maybe last week was a wake-up call, but your defense didn't get that much better, even with Cunningham coming back and adding Leonard. So I don't know how much they're going to improve in 1 week. And I think for the Eagles to, whoever wins is going to get into the 30s, I think. So that means the Eagles are going to have to play. It's going to be a Buffalo-type game or score for the Eagles to win. They're going to put up that kind of points. And I think from what you saw last week, we're talking about Bland a little bit, and he leads league interceptions, and he's got 5 returns for a touchdown, but he did get carved up a little bit. So I think you got to try to use AJ Brown like Seattle used Metcalf and just try to get one-on-ones and give him a chance to make a play, and exploit that. And, with the struggles Hurts had last week, even with time, do you feel confident if he's got to throw the ball that much that he's not, kind of regressing a little bit? And Jason, you had mentioned the offense, and I'm happy to see McCarthy's going to be on the sidelines because I still don't trust him as a play caller with his appendix removed or whatever. But
yeah, that might matter actually. That might hurt Dallas.
Well, having him there, I think will hurt him as a play caller. Yeah, but if the Eagles are
he missed time, like he missed 2 practices.
Yeah, that might hurt Dallas.
That makes a difference.
They said typically you should, practice during the week. Yeah, sure. But I mean, if the Eagles are the best line in the league, like Dallas's line has been playing really well too. So if they can keep, and Eagles didn't pressure Dak much at all in the first game, and they got some sacks and a bunch towards the end in big situations, but it's going to be on the defensive line to get pressure again. And I don't trust them at this point to get enough. So I think I was 35-27. So I'll change that because it's too close to Jason. I'll go 38-28. Dallas
What's
wins.
the matter if it's too close to Jason?
I don't know.
You can have to say if you think it's going to be the same.
38-28 Dallas.
I think we're all on the same kind of.
Well,
Okay.
I just think it's one of those things where, it's if you look at the gambling aspect, like teams that get blown out, come back, when they lose by, I forget what the statistic is. I mean, the Eagles got embarrassed, after being San Fran talked trash. Everybody's talking about it. The Eagles are exposed. I know. I feel like this is a team that they has Hurts ever lost 2 games in a row, I guess back in his rookie season.
Not in over
second.
2 years.
So there's just that sense of pride. Dallas, won on Thursday night football. They scored a bunch of points. So it's just another thing where I think the public's probably going to lean heavy on Dallas when it finally comes out. I think they were 60-something percent, 70%. But I do think that'll increase. The line is, I guess, between 3.5 and 3. And Dallas still hasn't proven to beat the better teams, and Eagles have proven to beat the better teams without last week, obviously. So I'm going to keep it simple like that, not get into the X's and O's, and just keep it that their pride's going to take over. You're going to see a better team. That third game in 13 days played a factor. Now, it's not like they got extended rest, but they got something back. They had a little extra time now. So I'm going to go 30. What do I got here? 34-30 Eagles. No, I don't. That's 34-27 Eagles. So Dallas struggles in the red zone again, kicks a couple field goals. So 34-27 Eagles. All right. Anything else from the group? Walt, anything else from the Dallas side?
I guess I'm interested to see the Carter and Tyler Smith second matchup, because that seems like that's going to be a big matchup that we talk about for years to come. I know Tyler Smith did well the first time. I know Carter's having a really good year. I don't know if he's kept that up. I mean, I know he was leading the league in interior pressures at one point in the way. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's hard to judge whether or not he had a good game in San Fran, but they were saying that they were saying the San Francisco line was getting the Eagles tackles to move laterally before they went upfield. I don't know if you guys saw that. They said that was the key to the run game, that there wasn't much there, that McCaffrey was able to slide in and out, but they were blocking it away where they were making Davis, I guess. And
they looked high. I mean, I thought Davis and Carter, I thought they looked like rookies who played a lot of snaps the game before, and they looked tired. They weren't really finishing tackles. They weren't. I mean, Carter was even chippy a little bit with one of the players early in the game.
I mean, Carter's snaps have gone up significantly. I know Williams missed a game, and so they've been banged up, the Buffalo had 90 offensive plays or whatever the ridiculous number was. But I mean, he looks like a rookie that's playing his 14th game. He's never played as many games in a year, and he's playing a lot of snaps, and so he's slowing down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm happy because if Dallas can get any kind of movement, they're running it they're obviously not going to run a lot, and that's not Dallas's MO, but you have to be at least efficient enough on the ground. And so obviously being efficient on the ground is going to start with these two guys in the middle. So, Dallas is going to have to be at least close to 4 yards of carry and not run on first down and make it 2nd and 9, but run enough to when we're going play action, you respect it. And it starts with the guys in the middle. So it's my interior line against your interior line is the matchup for me, really, because that's going to dictate whether we can make plays down the field, which is how we want to win the game. So.
Okay. Anything else before we turn it to Jason? We're only covering Eagles this week, Eagles-Niners. Eagles, so it's a quicker show than we normally do. We don't have some of the other sports in there. So I guess we could throw it over to you, Jay.
All right, so week 13. So as you'll see in our picks, where a lot of us picked unders, that really wasn't the case.
This season, this league is just impossible this year.
Yeah, there was 9 over and 4 under last week, so that kind of turned around. Although for the year, it's still 85 over, 106 under, 55% to the under.
And did you see? I mean, I know you did. That some of the over unders tonight's game, it was like 30.
I've never seen a 30-point game
in the NFL
in the 30s. Weather's going to be bad on Sunday in a lot of places, but I mean, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
crazy.
There's going to be some weather.
Is that what it is? Weather's. I mean, it's the winter. I get it. So is that what it's
called?
There's like a storm in the west right now that's going to rip through the country.
Yeah, Sunday's going to be bad on the East Coast.
They've dropped like 5. Some lines have dropped 5 or more points since they opened with the over-unders.
Mm-hmm. So then over-under, the public was 6 and 7. They're still doing well there. They're 54% for the year. Another public week. Public was 8 and 4, 8-4 and 1. They did push a game against the spread. So the public is now 57% on the year. It's just outrageous. We'll get to our picks. Again, I had another bad week. It's 2 in a row. I went 1 and 2. I did hit my best bet with the Texans, but then I was telling Chalky a little earlier, I have 4 unders that I liked, and of course the 2 unders that I picked went over and the other 2 didn't, but it is what it is. So I lost the Panthers-Bucks under 37. That was a loss. And then the Bengals-Jaguars was a bad loss. That went way over. So I went 1 and 2. Tommy went 0 and 3. So he lost on the Saints. Keep picking the Saints.
Yeah, they had a chance too, and then they blew it. Tampa got backdoored, of course.
Bucks
against
was a
bad
loss,
team.
and then the Chiefs was a loss. So you went 0 and 3.
Chiefs lost the game outright. That's right.
Chalky went 1 and 2. So he had another not great week. He lost on the over/under in the Lions and was it Lions Saints?
Yep.
Read my writing. Lions Saints.
That was 21-0 after
Yeah, when
Yeah. Lost Chiefs Packers on there, but then he did win on the 49ers. So he went 1 and 2. Our boy Meeker, Walt, are you sitting down? We can't see you, but are you sitting down?
I am.
Meeker, for the 3rd straight week, went undefeated. He went 3-0 this week. He went 2-0 the prior 2 weeks because he had pushes, but he's on a 9-game unbeaten streak. So
yeah, when the public keeps winning, I mean, it makes sense.
that's true. So the Colts, he had the Colts, they won. He had the under in the Steelers and the Cardinals, and then he had under in the Texans and Broncos. And then our guest, we can't forget, Jimmy D gave us a pick. So he had the 49ers, and of course that was a winner. For the year, our best bets, I'm now 7 and 6, so I'm finally profitable there. Tommy 6 and 7, Chalky 8 and 5. You're in a little bit of a bad streak there. Meeker 7 and 5, Walt 1 and 0, and Jimmy D's 1 and 0. So for the year, the pod's 30 and 23 in best bets. Our record, I'm 22 and 17. I'm a profit of 297, 56% win percentage, 8% ROI. Our boy Meeker, Walt, is now a profitable handicapper just this year, not overall, of course, but just this year. He's 19 and 17 now, profit of $21.
Would you let them put the collar with?
Yeah, 53% win percentage, 1% ROI. Chalky is now 19 and 20. Chalky is on a bad run right now. He's got a loss of $233, 49% win percentage, minus 6% ROI. Tommy had a bad week, so he's now 18 and 21. Loss of $368, 46% win, minus 9% ROI. For the year, because Walt gave us a 3-0 week and Jimmy D went 1-0, still positive for the pod. We're 82 and 75, $84 profit, 52% win percentage, 0.5% ROI. And then all time, I am 55 and 36, profit of $1,389, 60% win percentage, 15% ROI. Tommy's 46 and 39, profit of $497, or is Tommy 48? My eyes anymore. I don't know, but he's a 54% win percentage, profit of $497, 6% ROI. Chalky, actually Meeker passed you, so
Wow.
we gotta go Meeker next. Meeker's
He's
42.
he's missed some weeks though, so it's a lower volume. So need more time to even it out.
He might not qualify for the batting title.
No.
42 and 45 with a loss of $699, 49% win percentage, minus 8% ROI, and then Chalky, you are now. I can't read anymore, guys. I'm so. God.
This segment is not brought to you by the School
Bad
District
enough.
of Philadelphia.
Chalky's bad. Chalky's a
Well,
minus
my-
10% ROI. We're still profitable as a pod, 0.7% ROI.
It's not brought to you by Zanny lenses or whatever they sell nowadays
I gotta-
either, apparently. So
I wrote it too small. That's the problem.
All right, well, let's get to the picks.
so my
now-
top pick this week is
Wait.
yeah. Okay, let's go through it.
I've been accused of making Chalky go first through various schemes and plots. So for this week, I'm going to recuse myself, as some of our great senators do sometimes, and I will recuse myself from picking. I'm going to turn it to Walt to decide who goes first. Walt, who goes first this week?
All right, no doubt. Let's go with Chalky.
Oh, so Chalky, you're first. Nothing I
mean,
can
we're
do
like
about
at
it.
that point.
It's all
Nothing
right.
I can do about it.
So I'm getting off betting the under against the Lions this week. And we talked about the under lines that are just ridiculous in some of these games, but I did find one that'll go with as my best bet. I'm going to go under 49 in the Buffalo KC game. I don't believe there's a weather situation involved there. I don't think it would be 49 if it was. That's minus 112. Two solid defenses, and, hopefully it won't be a complete shootout. Second choice is going to be Vikings -3, minus 108 against the Raiders. And then third, I actually had Dallas, but they are getting they're getting the bets right now. Money is on the Eagles, so I'm taking them off. I guess they would be 4, but I'm actually going to go to the Lions -3. Chicago's getting a lot of bets and a lot of money, and that line is moving accordingly, which probably means you shouldn't bet the Lions, but I'll take the Lions.
I getting confused the heck out of me.
Yeah, I thought I missed an injury or something.
Weather. At first it was weather. It was going to be like crazy winds, and now it's not anymore.
I'm sorry. So DraftKings has moved it, so Lions are now -3.5 at even money, so I guess I'll take that.
So plus 100.
Plus 100, yep. Or even money, as those of us in the industry say.
All right. Well, Walt, you are taking the place of Meeker this week, unfortunately. So you will go second, because he usually goes second. By chance. I mean, it's not right.
All right, just for future reference, can I be titled as someone other than taking Meeker's place? I feel like there's some sort of ingrained slate there, but okay.
They're very, very small shoes to fill.
Yes. So, and again, I always forget where you guys are grabbing your numbers from, so we can always adjust. But
I have your picks, and I wrote down what the numbers should be, and then Chalk's
Okay.
going to check them. So go ahead.
All right, so I like the Rams plus 7.5.
Yep.
It should be minus 112 unless
Minus 112, yes.
And they're playing who?
Baltimore.
Baltimore. I seen something where basically McVay, the first time that someone sees McVay, their success rate, their EPA on offense is through the roof. And he has a way of just scheming things up. So even if it's a better team, the Rams are like hit or miss, where if he's on point and he's confused his defense or whatever team they're playing, they seem to roll. So I'm going to invest in.
I actually thought the Rams had a shot to win that game outright.
My only concern is the weather. The Rams are not going to be able to do anything in that weather. Like it's going
That's
to
a wind, rain, or
Okay.
like
so
20 to 30 mile per
hour. Did not even look at it. So
Yeah, I think that was a 44 or 45 point over under to start. Now it's down to 40.
Yeah, the weather got.
I could be in peril there. I like Denver plus 2.5.
Minus 110, I think.
Them and the Chargers is Staley's gone, and I think that people in Denver and players in Denver know they're talking to the boss to Peyton will be there a while, and they're playing hard from the very least. But they don't have that much talent, but they play hard and they're physical, and I think it's because they know the guy on the sideline is going to make a decision whether or not they have a job. So I think they've been playing hard. I like them. And my last pick was Atlanta minus 2.5.
No, I think that's minus 1.5 now.
Minus
Okay.
1.5.
Minus 110. 12.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, we know what they are, but I mean, I think the Bucs are getting to the point where they're just listless and playing out the string a little bit. And, I think Atlanta, someone's going to win the South. I think it's Atlanta, so going that way.
Okay, and I'll go. So my best bet this week was Atlanta. So I had it 1.5 minus 110. For my second pick, I like to do these ugly teams. I'm going to take the G-Men, the Giants, at plus 6.5. Now this is a line I think might get to 7, but we take them at Thursday. So 6.5 minus 108 against Green Bay. Green Bay's now the hot team. This and that, blah blah blah. They're going to fall on their face at some point.
They got 2 Monday night games again this week?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, because I was saying, they're the same thing as Miami.
Yeah, they were Monday.
Same
Yep.
time.
And then, actually, I got to go against for my last pick, and I don't love this, but I actually had a hard time finding the game. The Chargers, minus 2.5. I see now this is a line I thought can go to 3, so I would say this is one you might want to jump on at 2.5, minus 110.
I almost picked the Chargers.
I know. I go back to the teams that do me dirty, and
Bailey's like, I mean, I think it's really going sideways there. Even if it doesn't matter. I think he's going to lose his job anyway. He publicly said that they're talking about making a switch at running back. So now it's Eckler's fault.
Well, Eckler
Yeah.
apparently
Yeah, look good, but
bad. It's been
he's
bad.
banged. I think he's banged up. I think he's been playing hurt all
Could be.
year. But I mean, the public, even if that's true, you're on the hot seat, so you're thinking is to just go with an immediate, rip one of your best player, historically anyway. Like,
No, he's
just
done.
seems like a whole
Staley's
next one.
done.
Like,
I can't see any way he stays unless they
No.
get to the playoffs and win at least one game, maybe more. I think that's
They're
about the only way
4-7, they're
he.
not getting-
I don't think it's going to happen, but I think that's the only chance at this point.
All right, so I have Meeker's picks.
Oh, I didn't know Meeker took picks. Nice.
So he's got Saints Panthers under 37.5. Should be minus 110. Chalky.
I
Saints
believe that was 37.5. Under, you said?
Under.
Yeah, 108.
Minus 108. Guys, 13.
Bad weather in the dome this week.
Yeah, right. So he has Lions minus 3.5, which is, I guess, plus 100 now.
Oh, some great minds.
How am I going to go against him the last couple of weeks? So I can't knock it.
No, I'm just saying with the power of 2 on that one, the Chalky and Meeker both.
He's
I
got
cancel each other out like two negatively charged atoms. I'm not sure, but
Broncos Chargers under 44 minus 110.
Look at Meeker
Yeah.
now going with the unders.
I know.
He's a capper now.
it's
Look at
working. It's working. And by the way, you judged public. He was against the public in all 3 wins last week. So
Yeah, Meeker's been pretty good lately. I mean, I guess it's a blind squirrel or whatever you want to say, broke the clock, whatever. But
Jason's giving him his picks at a time.
no,
To make these picks.
I want to know. Pick,
We know you're not necessarily a fan of seeing Meeker succeed because there's not as much material when that happens.
I publicly root against Meeker's picks when I'm home by myself. I'm in all transparency.
anyone who's ever met Baker,
Meeker, I'm still waiting for that password to share the Sunday ticket if you're listening
just,
this week.
Same time when that special guest joins, yeah, you'll get it.
Yeah.
That he hasn't emailed in 6 months.
All right, let me give my pick. So, Chalky, you better straighten out this week because we actually have one of the same picks. I'm going with the Vikings minus 3, minus 108. I think the Raiders are garbage. Jefferson's back this week for the Vikings. Dobbs has looked bad, but I just think the Raiders are not good. Vikings are actually pretty good on the road. I'll go with the Vikings. And then I'm taking advantage of this weather situation. Rams, Ravens. Now, it was under 39.5. Did that change?
It's 40 right now, 112 if you want the under.
Yes. So I'll take that. 40, 112. That weather, like they're saying it's going to be heavy rain and then heavy winds with gusts of up to 30 miles per hour. The last time the Ravens played in that, they lost to... was it the Colts?
Colts was the weather win because they wouldn't let Tuck kick a field goal in overtime.
Right. So you're not going to be able to kick. Now they don't have Andrews, so now he can't throw intermediate. I think that's going to be a problem. And then Texans Jets. I mean, listen, the Jets can't score as it is, and the weather's going to be almost as bad as it is going to be in Baltimore. I think that's under 33.5 minus 110.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm taking advantage of the weather in those games. When the wind's like that, you're not moving the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not happy to see the Eagles playing Dallas this week, but if they were home, that would have been the 4th straight week of crappy weather that they'd be playing in. So
Yeah, we're getting some bad weather here.
yeah,
First there. Okay, so do we have any props or bets before we wrap up? Jason's shaking his head. So,
I do.
Jason?
And I'm going to take a page out of Chalky playbook here.
hold on, Ferguson. I'm getting it in now. Ferguson scores.
No, it's not
okay,
Ferguson.
all right.
yeah, Ben,
Ferguson scores. I'm just getting it on the
The
record.
Eagles are the 32nd ranked team against the number 2 wide receiver in the league. I'm going with Brandon Cooks to score a touchdown.
What is that?
Good question.
Ferguson was about 150, I believe, plus
I-
150. I'll
Cooks will
pull
be
Cooks
more.
up. Lamb was like minus 2,000, so I guess.
I
he's
mean,
good.
obviously, Lamb probably scores.
Lamb was minus 150. Cooks is plus 175.
Okay.
And people are dropping wood already because Ferguson has now dropped to plus 145 when he was plus 150. When
He's
I
a
looked
good player, man. I like him.
Yeah.
He could play.
And Chalky, with you also nodded your head, so I think you.
Ferguson would be my pick to score in the Eagles game to get a touchdown. So
Okay. Walt, do you have any prop or touchdown that you thought you could think of?
No, nothing. I took a look at it. Nothing really popped out, so I didn't want to force it.
Walt
I'm-
gave me
Mark
Brees
Eagle,
Hall.
though.
He gave me Brees Hall the only week that Brees Hall did anything. And after that, Brees Hall, I don't think has gained more than like 30 yards.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame Brees Hall. He's
No, that offensive line. Is
Yeah,
bad, and-
that's a bad
yeah.
team. Jeez.
yeah.
All right. Well, episode 84 of Broad Street Hustle. I don't even think I introduced Broad Street Hustle when we started episode 84. Thanks to our special guest, Walt. And we'll have Meeker back next week. Have a great rest of the night.